the kids do not have to wear a mask. That's what I want to do.
Well, that's what we're gonna do. This meeting should
It's
take about
going
5
live
minutes.
right now.
Okay.
It's going
I need a
live right
motion
now.
and a second
Hold
to
on,
enter
it's not ready
in
yet.
public session. We're live. I need a motion and a second to
Motion.
enter public session.
Motion.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Welcome to the special meeting of the Board of Education. Tonight we have 2 things on our agenda. Actually, 3 things.
Red onion,
I'm
red onion,
sorry.
cherry tomatoes.
Lee, please mute. We're not talking about tomatoes right now, Lee.
I muted her.
Thank you, Jesse. All right, we have 3 items on the agenda. The first is the consent agenda, Jackie, and then we'll do the 3rd item, which is our resolution. Actually, Jesse,
Eileen, I think you still have to do the pledge and the roll call.
you're correct. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mylene. I'm a little out of sorts right now. I just got home. I need to, if everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then a moment of silence for all those men and women who have serving our country, and police officers who are going through all their things that's going on in this world right now. Just a moment of silence for all of them. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under
To
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty
liberty
and justice
and justice
for all.
for all.
Nick,
Thank
come
you.
here.
Thank you. Mark, mute please if you're not speaking. Jesse, will you please call the roll?
Yes, we have Mrs. Panico,
Here.
Mr. Washaw,
Here.
Mrs. Augulus,
Present.
Miss Kennedy,
Jesse, you muted her.
we'll go Miss Napolitano Furno,
Here,
Dr. Adams,
Present.
Mr. Kolahifar,
Present.
Mr. Middleman,
Present.
and then I did try to unmute Mrs. Kennedy.
Lee, are you there? Okay, so Jessica stepped out for a moment, and then when she comes back in, she can come back in. Jesse, is the consent agenda now have the 3 items?
It does, yes.
Okay, so let's do a motion to approve the items 2 and 1, 2, 3, and 4, but discussion first. So I need a motion and a second.
motion,
Second.
Okay, so now we will talk about discussion. We will start with item 2. Jack, the last one will be what you want to speak about. Item 2 is a COVID resolution, and what's on there is changed. Jesse, would you just read it out for us, please, for the public? The amended version.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
It says, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Connecticut Central School District charges the superintendent with the obligation to change the approved reopening plan to reflect any changes of either an executive order of the governor and or the regulation/guidance from the New York Department of Health.
Okay, the first one I did want to ask, is Lisa coming in? Lisa, the attorney now?
I'm thinking not. I think since Greg jumped on earlier.
The question I really did want to ask, and I should have asked him, was guidance is not a law, but if we're following the New York State Department of Health, then I'm okay with that. But because I'm going to be off the board in 3 weeks, I don't know what's the wording. So I don't know if you guys want to pull all these and do separate votes on all of these 3 different. Jackie, I think that's what you wanted to do for number 4 anyway. Let's do separate for everything if that's okay.
yes, that's
Is that
fine.
okay with everyone? Okay, so item number 2, the solution. Any other discussion? I'm uncomfortable with the guidance because I didn't speak to the lawyer, my fault, to find out if guidance means law. So any other discussion on item number 2, the COVID resolution, so that we can have Linda change the reopening plan immediately as guidance comes down?
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that now with the new wording. The amended
Right, so I'm
wording.
gonna call, okay, so I'm gonna call the roll on the vote for item number 2. Lee, is she back?
Yes.
Lee, are you back? Okay, so Lee, item number 2, I need a yes
Yes.
or no, please. Okay, Mylin,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes,
Mark,
Yes.
and it already threw, but I'm going to abstain anyway because I didn't ask the question about the guidance and I wanted to just make sure that guidance and law is different. So I'll find that out at another time. Okay, the next one is item number 3, which is the letter. It's a letter that Linda wrote to Governor Cuomo regarding gathering limits and mask mandates. Linda, you want to tell us a little bit about that? You want to read it? What do you want to do with this one?
Certainly.
Because
So,
I don't think it's up on board docs yet of the public. So if you could read it, that would be great.
sure. And then I'm going to ask the public later in my email out to the public describing what happened at the board meeting tonight to please download this letter and send it both to Governor Cuomo and to the Commissioner of Education and the Commissioner of Health. Because I believe that they are public entities that need to hear from the public that we want movement to be occurring to allow our kids to have a more normal year.
Can you
So,
also please add the board members' names to that letter who agreed to it? I would agree to putting my name to that letter.
okay,
Let's
obviously
wait till the
myself.
vote, but yes, that's a good idea, but at vote, we can add the letters. We can add the names. If somebody's name doesn't want to be there, that's fine too.
okay. Dear Governor Cuomo, since the start of school in September, our district has worked tirelessly to meet all required COVID-19 safety protocols and developed robust measures to keep our students and staff safe. We have lowered class sizes to meet social distancing requirement, installed desk barriers as redundant safeguards to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, divided our students into cohort to reduce potential contacts, completed daily health checklists, and of course, complied with the universal required mask mandate. We are proud of the work we have done and our efforts have helped keep our schools and communities safe. Now, as we prepare to reach the finish line of the 2021 school year, we ask you to consider easing 2 restrictions: the universal mask mandate for students and the requirements for large gatherings such as graduation. With the warmer weather, an increase in the number of fully vaccinated individuals, and our community's significantly low positivity rate, we urge you to consider making a change in these 2 matters. Seeing similar moves in neighboring states, we feel now is the time for New York to make these changes. With just 14 school days left, we are hopeful that our students can conclude what has been a most challenging year by taking a much-deserved prolonged mask break when on school grounds, both indoors and outside. Additionally, a reprieve from the COVID-19 testing requirements associated with a gathering in excess of 500 would permit our graduating class to participate in one ceremony to mark the conclusion of their educational journey together. So much has been taken in our senior year experiences in order to comply with COVID-19 protocols. We ask that you help to ensure that a graduation ceremony as a class is not added to that list. The current requirements of testing or ensuring proofs of vaccination would be a near impossible feat for our district based on our size, and thus would require us to host several outdoor ceremonies. The class of 2021 has overcome so much and has continually demonstrated their strength, perseverance, and compassion. As such, we implore you to make the necessary changes to let them celebrate this milestone as they deserve, as one Connecticut family. We know how far we as a community, district, and state have come in the fight against COVID-19 and are hopeful that you will consider our requests to take the next step forward in helping us all return to a more traditional school experience.
Linda, first of all, I want to say thank you for writing such a strong letter and advocating for the children. I appreciate that. We've gone, ahead at times, but I know where your heart is, so I appreciate that. Does anybody have any discussions on that or any changes? Do you want
Yes.
to, Mylin, want to say
I
it?
would,
I,
I would like to add the board, whoever board member would like to add their name to that.
Say that again, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I would like, if it's okay with you, Linda, any board member that'd like to put their signatures to that letter, I'd be happy to put my signature to that letter to join you.
As would I.
Linda, I would like to join you as well, but I also want to reiterate that this afternoon, I had a discussion with Dr. Adams in regards to speaking tomorrow night during board discussions about holding one graduation for our high school students, one graduation for our middle school students, each of the two middle schools. I understand it would be a big undertaking. I appreciate everything everybody's done, but there have been a lot of complaints, and really the complaints are from the young people. They want to graduate with their peers, and if we're being honest, there are guidelines. We just spoke to the Greg Scursio, and I would like to speak to him. I
Jackie,
meant to ask him about that, but I would
Jackie,
like
I'm
to
sorry,
discuss
that's what
that
I
more
said.
tomorrow.
Jackie, I'm sorry. I did say that that's why I abstained from the other one. I didn't get the definition between guidance and law, so I apologize for that.
Right.
But this
Well-
isn't, this letter though, I want to stay on topic.
Well,
And,
no,
you know,
I'm-
and that's gonna be a big discussion
Th-
tomorrow night. Hope
Well, I
everybody
want
comes
to
down.
just let everybody
Jackie,
know,
let me
so if
finish.
there's
Let me-
people who want to be there, they can. That's what I'm saying. Let
Yeah.
the community know if they want to
Yes,
be there. it will
absolutely.
be a
Tomorrow
discussion.
night, we are having a meeting at the high school. Anybody that needs, we have a public portion, we would love to hear from you. But right now, Jackie, do you want to add your name to this letter? Because, you know what, let me do the roll call, right? That's probably easier. Lee, would you like to add your name to this letter that Linda wrote to Cuomo?
Yes, as long as we follow Cuomo's rules. But it's very nice that you're asking permission in the right way. Yes, so the answer is yes.
Lee, I always ask in the right way. That was cute though, but Mylin, go ahead.
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes,
Mark,
Yes.
and Linda, we spoke about this. Yes, I believe in parental, and I thank you for that strong letter. Item number 4.
Wait. So can I just touch on that for a second? So Linda,
Absolutely.
my son graduated about a week or two from Stony Brook.
Yeah, I do.
And they were allowed 2 parents to come to the ceremony. Either you are
You guys
vaccinated.
need to, hold on, Mylin, 1 second. Please
Yeah,
mute your
Barbara?
microphone when you're not speaking. I don't want that
Do you
tomatoes
have
and that kind
rice vinegar? Please get rice vinegar.
of, Lee, please mute your microphone.
I muted her again.
Thank you, Jess. Mylin, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
So I attended my son's graduation about 2 weeks ago. So there was either you were vaccinated to show that you were vaccinated, or you were proved that you had a PCR within 6 hours of the graduation start time. There was 2 parents who were allowed to the graduation. Sorry. And we were allowed to attend the graduation. Now, they had it on their football field. There was at least double, if not triple, the graduates that we are having now. Maybe 4 times. It was huge. It was a big crowd of kids that are graduating. So why is it that they could do double, almost 3 times the size of a graduation? Again, unfortunately, they did limit to 2 tickets. I know probably in the past they've unlimited tickets, or I'm not sure how SBU does it. But why are we having such a hard time when SBU just did it? 2 tickets, vaccinated, or prove a PCR within the 6 hours. And parents,
I gotta say, I don't know how they could do that. Isn't that against HIPAA laws? But that's another legal question. Go ahead, Linda. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have interrupted.
No, that's
I
okay.
apologize.
Mylin, we actually did ask our parents if they would be willing to do that, and we did have a large majority say they would be willing to provide, but we also had quite a few that said that they would not be willing to provide, and that, try to stop them from getting there on graduation day. So I know Stony Brook has a very narrow way to get into their fields, and I'm sure that people would have been escorted off that field if they had not provided their tickets after they've given their information. Parents would have to provide that information willingly. We would have to have some kind of a portal that it would happen in, and then we would have to have that proof, that 6-hour proof within the 6 hours of the ceremony, or the 72 hours for the PCR. We had a long discussion about it. We're not sure that we have enough staff to staff that kind of an event where we're looking at all those things even ahead of time. And then, when we talk about what happened this weekend, unfortunately, with a team that was put into quarantine because of a false positive. If I have a false positive of any one of those graduates that morning, they're going to miss graduation. And anybody that they've been with within the last 48 hours, that would be heartbreaking. So we had all these discussions about this, and we thought it would be better to have all our kids be able to walk, and 500 parents or spectators. The new guidance actually says that the students are not part of that 500. It wasn't always that. It was originally 500 outdoors with the students, but the students now being separate. We were just really worried about all of those events converging to have drama on graduation day, and we thought it would be better to let those kids walk than potentially have to stop some kids if they had a false positive.
So you're not requiring a PCR that day for the graduates?
Nobody. So if we stay under the 500 limit, spectator wise, everybody can just come. There, the 2 tickets per child. We've got the children split up into A through K, I think, and L through Z. And then they can have their 2 people come, and no one has to be tested. No one has to give their information as to whether they were vaccinated or they're just 90 days post COVID. So we thought it was less of an invasion of privacy, and we want our kids to.
Well, there is that. Okay. Ahead.
One second, we're getting off topic a little bit here because that's a topic that we're gonna. 1 second. That's a topic that we are gonna bring up tomorrow night. The topic right now, though, is about the letter that Linda sent. So I want to just keep us on topic because this is only a special meeting, and we have tomorrow night to be here till 11, 12 minutes, whatever you want to do. But right now we have to stay on topic because it is a special meeting. So the letter. We all voted. Mark, did I hear from you? Did I hear from Mark, Jesse? Yes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we all voted yes for that to go through and to put our sections on it. So we are going to move on to the last item.
Eileen, can I just stop you for a second? I just want to make sure that I have the permission of the board to send it to Governor Cuomo, Commissioner Rosa, and Commissioner Zucker. Correct?
Yes, for me, Mylene?
Yes,
Jackie's
for
giving
me.
you a thumbs up. Mark and Lee,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
And do you want me to wait until I have your actual physical signatures tomorrow to send it? I would like to get the unsigned letter out to the.
You can I'm okay with the unsigned letter, and then if you want our signatures, we can do that as well.
Okay.
Tomorrow, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm only one person though. Lynn, Jackie, Buck,
I'm
Lee,
fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
I'm
Mark?
okay.
Lee. Okay, she's still talking about tomatoes, I think.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So the last item on the agenda, Jesse, I don't have it in front of me. We just added it.
Yes.
Can you read that for us, please?
Yes. Be it resolved that the Board of Education will no longer require any students or persons to wear a mask outdoors on school grounds effective June 8th, 2021.
So that is the start of school. Tomorrow morning, children will not be required to wear a mask outdoors. However, we still have to follow the guidelines. Linda, I'm going to let you explain this because I'm not exactly sure with all the tweets and the memos that have come down what's actually going on.
Yeah. So unfortunately,
And then the board will discuss.
yeah, Friday we got a letter. Do you mind if I just have a few minute conversation, Mrs. Panico? Is that okay?
Linda, have it. Go ahead.
Thank
You got the floor.
Thank you. So late in the afternoon on Friday, a letter from Dr. Howard Zucker, New York State Commissioner of Health, to Dr. Walensky, Director of the Center for Disease Control, was released from the governor's office stating, and I quote, "The New York State plans to align our school and camp mask guidance as follows. In both settings, as a minimum statewide guidance, indoors masks will be strongly encouraged but not required for students, campers, and staff, teachers, counselors who are not fully vaccinated. Outdoors masks are not required. Students, campers, and staff, teachers, counselors who are not fully vaccinated are encouraged to wear a mask in certain higher risk circumstances. Both indoors and outdoors, students, campers, and staff who are fully vaccinated do not need to wear masks. And schools and camps may choose to implement stricter standards." Further, that letter goes on to state, quote, "If there is any data or science that you're aware of that contradicts moving forward with this approach, please let us know as soon as possible. We plan to make this guidance effective on Monday, June 7th. As both the superintendent of the Connecticut schools and a human being, I was very happy to receive this letter because as it is written, what it says to me is our Commissioner of Health believes we are safe enough for whatever reason. Our infection rate is down, our hospital rate is down, our state has one of the highest vaccination rates, or whatever other measure they use to justify that letter, to unmask our students, faculty, and staff if they chose to. Then on Sunday, we received a letter from the New York State Commissioner of Schools telling all school districts in the state that at that time, there was no change in practice and policy, and we were to disregard the letter from the Commissioner of Health until an executive order containing a change was written by the governor. In my opinion, if the Commissioner of Health was simply seeking interagency communication to determine if they could move forward, that letter should never have been released to the public. It set up our communities to split into mask, unmasked factions, which should never have occurred if all they were looking for was information prior to action. I've stated many times this year, I am not an epidemiologist. I rely on the health experts and their guidance to keep our students, faculty, and staff safe. And as a school district, I am proud to say that we have been extremely successful in these endeavors. With today's announcement, the governor has lifted the mandate on masked outdoors. I am elated, but I am also disappointed. Friday's letter made us all believe that we were on the road to safety. I have drafted a letter to the governor for the board's approval to request that he continue to consider making schools similar to all other indoor settings and also to lift the testing protocol needed to go above the 500-person gathering limit outdoors. If we do not need to mask outdoors, why can't we have graduations without testing? So as of today, the governor's change from what he said he was going to do on Friday, the only change that he implemented was that we do not need to wear masks outdoors. And the school district is about to adopt that we will not mandate mask wearing on our school grounds outdoors for outdoor activities in the Connecticut Central School District.
And Linda, we are also, the children have the medical reasons, and they don't have to disclose those medical reasons. They are also exempt, correct? And that's been all along.
They actually do need to disclose those medical reasons. That they need to be.
Well, our school, I mean, they don't need to disclose them to the public.
No,
You guys have records of them already.
Correct.
And that's been happening all along. I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
Yes, you're correct.
So
Eileen,
those
we've been
children
doing
that
that all
have
along.
any sort of medical issues or anxiety or anything with the masks have already come to you and they don't have to wear them in school. Parental
correct.
choice or doctor's choice if medically necessary. Correct?
It needs a medical note, and that medical note should be presented to Mrs. Santo, who then works with Dr. Gill, who's our chief medical officer. And they contact the physician, and then the child does not need to wear the mask.
Okay, so let me give you a follow. Hold on, Mylan. Let me give you a follow-up question with that. What about a child who now has, because of all the COVID, it's not your fault. What about an undiagnosed anxiety thing now? I mean, are they allowed to get a note that says something to that effect, and the child doesn't have to wear the mask?
They need a
We
note
still
from the medical doctor. It does not matter, honestly, what the diagnosis is. They need a note from medical doctor, and then they will be contacted by Dr. Gill.
So just to clarify, they can say, letter can be vague, but it has to be from a medical doctor. Doesn't have to say the specific condition, correct?
No, it does need to say the specific condition so that
Okay.
Bill can contact the doctor.
Okay.
And all those letters should be brought into sent to Ms. Santo's attention.
Okay, thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. Eileen, you have the floor.
So it's unfortunate that our children are being used as political pawns right now. You know, one of the things that you touched on, Linda, is our low percentage rate of infection. I believe it's under 5%. We have about 68% of people that are vaccinated in New York State. My question to you is more of you to kind of elaborate how we've got our hands tied on this situation, and so to speak, elections have consequences. And what I mean by that is how is the board's hands tied? How are your hands tied? And I'm going to use this term very loosely. How are we sort of threatened to comply, so to speak? The public needs to understand what the dynamic is of a removal of a board of education, the taking away of a certification of a superintendent. That should be information that we should all know about. That decisions that we would love to do. We would love to unmask our kids in our classrooms. We understand that these temperatures are going to start, elevating. They're going to get very hot. And we are concerned. As parents, we are deeply, deeply concerned. I feel truly, truly bad. But,
Great point, Great point. I just had to interrupt and say that. Great point.
but putting that all aside, can you just kind of explain to the community how our hands are tied, and this is not a, hey, we are a single district and we can go kind of rogue on certain things?
So although I'm not an attorney, I'm gonna play one right now. The executive orders, which is actually a memo that I think the board requested, I think it might have been Mrs. Furno and Mrs. Panico requested last time, about what does it mean for guidance versus an executive order? Is it binding? We did get attorney guidance that executive orders are laws. So everything that the executive order even guides, even though it says guidance and regulations, even though they say that if it's in an executive order, it is a legal mandate. So school districts could be fined for violating health laws. In fact, I think I sent an email out to the community last Thursday discussing the actual fines that could be imposed per event if we were to be violating those health laws. There is the ability of the Commissioner of Education to remove boards of education who are willfully violating executive orders and and commissioners' regulations, which are law, because we all swear an oath that we're going to uphold the laws of the Commissioner of Education and the state regents, Board of Regents regulations. And the superintendent's license, if the superintendent were to recommend doing something that is different from the governor's executive orders or any regulation, the superintendent's license could be forfeit. So there's monetary fines that can be laid on the school district. The Board of Education can be removed, and the superintendent can lose their license to be a practitioner of education. So they're real. The threats are real.
No, I don't remember.
And therefore, you know, I know we watched a few other boards of education over the course of last few days want to go to what the New York State Department of Health had put out on Friday. And the majority of those boards have now since walked back those changes that they made, and they are now going with change, which is no masks outside.
Can I say something?
Can you also elaborate? Can you also
Right now, let me
where they say,
Can you also I'm not finished, Lee. I'm not.
My Lynn has the floor, then Jackie's and you.
So Linda, can you also elaborate what NICE had said to you today, that if a board member was to choose to go against the guidance, that there can be personal ramifications as well?
That's correct. So I had a conversation with NICER, and they said that they're actually, if a Board of Education moved away from the guidance and the guidelines and the executive orders and decided to do what the Board of Education wanted to do that was against those orders, that not only would the school district be liable, but the board members that would then become personally liable if there were any issues that arose from the decisions that were made that were different than the executive order.
Thank you for sharing that information.
Didn't they also say that we took the credo, and in that credo it says we have to follow those rules? Isn't that in there somewhere? I read that. And
Yes.
Can the district be fined hundreds of thousands of dollars over this as well? This is what I was told, and I think it was told by our attorney in a memo to us. Am I correct,
Yes.
Linda?
Yes, and that was shared. That was actually shared with the public as well.
Okay, today
thank you.
I spoke to the attorney as well, and the attorney told me that yes, a board member could get removed, but he just told us it would take months. And he also did say that you could go against the guidelines. The only problem is you'd have an issue where they'd probably make you walk it back like they're having with other districts. The problem that I have, and I'll say it because everyone else isn't, is that Governor Cuomo is using the vaccination now. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I believe in choice, whatever works for you, but is using the vaccine. Let's be perfectly honest here if we're going to speak about what the executive order states. It states that either 4 or 6, I have it in my notes on my phone, unfortunately. It's almost 69%. And he said that if it gets to 70, he'll allow kids to go unmasked in school. So when 70% of the adult population, that's what it read, not children, adult population, is vaccinated, not fully vaccinated, just their first vaccine, he will then lift the mandates. That is an issue in itself. People should be flooding his email, his, and I'm not afraid to say it. He can come speak to us at ConnectWatt. It is absolutely ridiculous to hold our children in ConnectWatt hostage and across Long Island for parental choice. I have said that I am for children being unmasked or masked at this point in time. When the New York State Department of Health says kids can be unmasked indoors and outdoors, I have followed New York State Department of Health's strict guidelines, even when you all know I was against some of them. I would never be for mask shaming. I believe kids and adults should be comfortable. So if people want to wear masks all next year, God bless them.
Should be a choice.
But it should be their choice. And what we're
Correct.
doing to children just to get a vaccine into adult people who don't want it is a disgrace. And for people not to call it that, it's disgusting. And I would say it to any of our government officials to their faces. It is a disgrace. It should not be being done. You should not be holding our children hostage. You should not be holding my children hostage and the children of all of ConnectWatt. It is a disgrace. For parents who are against being unmasked, I feel for you. I understand there are people that have home issues where they have autoimmune or a medical issue, and I totally understand. But at some point, it's almost a year and a half, we have to comply. And that credo, Ms. Kennedy, that you're speaking about, that credo should go for all. Meaning that if we have a meeting, an emergency meeting that has to do with children and children's well-being, no matter what that meeting is about, I will never say no to a meeting. I will never say no to a meeting that supports children, whether you or I disagree on something or any of the other board members. No board member should ever say no to a meeting when that meeting has to do with people. And wait, I want to say one more thing.
No,
Dr.
let's talk about
Adams,
that tomorrow
hold
night.
on.
Could you go
I
over
will.
the top?
I will.
I told
I'm
you.
finishing.
Okay.
Eileen, I understand. Dr. Adams
And I agree
was
with you,
the
Jackie.
one
You
who,
know I agree with you.
I
100%.
understand. I understand. Dr. Adams
Okay.
sent the text message to all of us in true transparency that was asking for us to discuss this. So all board members should have abided and said yes, for if no other reason, to discuss it with our superintendent. People should not say, I don't have the vote, I disagree, so I'm gonna hold my vote and say I'm not, because emergency meetings
Well,
can
we're going
only
to pull
be
that
held.
policy.
Well,
We're going to pull that policy.
Eileen, I have it right in front of me, and it takes all,
Okay, well,
it takes
I'll look
all
at it
5 board
tomorrow
members.
night, Jackie. Jackie,
Okay.
I will look at it tomorrow night. And perhaps, I'm on the policy committee right now. I don't foresee it being changed at this moment. So perhaps the new board, who's ever on that policy committee, will look at that policy, because it really is not a good policy. It should be
Well,
consensus.
I just want to
agree
make
with you.
sure that we as adults in the room are making sure that our students are okay, because there are going to be very
That should be
high,
our main focus.
they are going to be very high temperatures, and some of these rooms are not air conditioned. And I really feel for the students and the staff that have to breathe through these wet masks and everything else.
In this humid
I
weather.
hope that we're going to have extra available for students in every class. I hope we're going to have as many mask breaks as possible, as much leniency that can be given within reason, and that there will be no issues or ramifications with kids outdoors having any issue if they don't want to wear a mask or they do want to wear a mask. That is parental choice.
Well,
we are
we're going to vote on that
saying
right
that.
now. Jackie,
Okay,
take the,
My vote
I'm going
is
to
a
take the
big
vote
yes.
right now. Jackie, I am going to cut you
Can I
off.
get Eileen, real quick, a motion and a second to approve before the roll call vote?
Well, we're going to do a roll vote on that. But Jackie, that's why I'm cutting you off. We have plenty of time to even know more about that tomorrow night. But I want to get this vote through. This is the mask to be not worn outside tomorrow, except for the reasons that Linda stated earlier. The doctor's note be sent to Ms. Santos. those children will be exempt and there will be no mask shaming, but that's not in the executive, but you can talk about that tomorrow night. So I need, for the vote tonight is about not wearing a mask starting tomorrow morning, the minute those children are out. So Lee Kennedy, please cast your vote.
Eileen, we need a motion and a second for that
Motion.
before the vote.
Okay,
Second,
I thought I did that already. Okay, we have a motion and a second now. Lee Kennedy? Lee? Is she
Yes.
online?
Yes, yes, I am. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, are you voting yes for this, for the mask to be worn
Yes.
outdoors? I mean, not worn.
I'm voting for
Not
the-
worn, I'm
no,
sorry.
not
To be
worn
off.
Off outdoors.
Correct,
According
not
to-
worn outdoors.
It's according
The
to
New York State
the,
Department of Health guidelines.
right.
Yes, discussion is over. It's just a vote now, Lee.
Yeah. So I said yes. I'm not, there is no discussion. I say yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, okay, thank you. Mylin?
I say yes, but Linda, can you just touch on one thing? Can you let parents know that those rooms that are, the temperatures are a little bit accelerated, what is your plan to try to move those children to more cooler areas? Because that's been a very big concern as
Let's do
well.
the vote though first, Mylin. Let's do the vote and then you can do more discussion. Let's do the vote though.
Yes,
But that
yes,
is a good question.
yes.
Okay, Jackie?
I am a yes, but I just want to let you know that the executive order has not officially been given to us. So we're actually, so Lee understands, we're actually doing more of a presumptive vote to say we are definitely removing masks tomorrow, whether the executive order is here and signed or not, because he already came out and said it. So I'm a yes.
He tweeted it. He did it on a tweet. So yes, we don't have the executive order right now. But as of right now, it is outside you don't have to wear a mask. And again, we'll see what
We
he
also
says
heard-
tomorrow. It changes every day.
We also heard from the
Hold on,
attorney.
we're
didn't
not
we
discussing,
say-
we're doing a roll call vote. Let me finish the vote. Mark, your vote, and then you guys can just go on. But let me finish the vote. Mark?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm also a yes. As you know, I agree with everything Mylin and Jackie have said. Okay, now that the agenda is closed, we have done the consent agenda. We can do board discussion for the rest of the night. I'll step away for 5 minutes. Mylin, will you please, or Mark? Mark, I know you're on the phone though.
No, have
So-
Mylin do it. She's seeable.
Mylin, please keep it in order. Who will go first, and then, and you just
Yes.
give me 5 minutes. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you. So, Linda, can you address with the public as far as the rooms that are going to be elevated in temperature? What are you doing with those children? The second question is, if kids are behind the barriers, do they have to wear the mask the whole time if those barriers are up?
So they do have to wear their masks the whole time the barriers are up. When they do take the mask breaks, we ask them to kind of forward into the barriers. That way they have a little bit more protection from the folks around them. We are going to be taking those barriers
I didn't
down
finish my miles.
for
I had 7 miles
September,
left.
but
I'm
right
just
now
gonna
we're
put
leaving
50
them
or
up just
60
as
in.
a preemptive.
Jesse, can you mute everybody until we give permission for them to speak? There's too much interference and the public needs to hear this information.
Yes, I did just mute Jackie. It's a little tough with Lee and Mark because they're on the phone, but fortunately they're both muted themselves.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So you were asking me about the room temperatures. So yesterday, in the wake of the email that came down from SED, I did have meetings at 7, 8, and 9 o'clock at night with my administrative staff to talk about moving kids out of rooms that are very hot and into areas that are a little bit cooler. All of our principals have plans in place for the rooms that they know get really, really hot. Unfortunately, this year, some of those rooms that we would normally move children to have been taken over by different causes because we went to the smaller class sizes, which because of COVID spread our children out throughout the building. But every principal was taking that into account and making sure that she or he had a place to move children when the temperatures got to be intolerable in classrooms.
Thank you. I believe Jackie has some questions. Jesse, unmute Jackie.
Can you hear me?
I
Yes,
can hear you.
Mark.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm unmuted. Thank you. I'll go on mute now.
Okay, all I was really asking was about, Mylan, all I had to really ask was what we were doing for, like I said, the children. This didn't come out yet with the executive order. That was something me and Dr. Adams spoke about earlier today. But even so, this was still something that was tweeted, was sent out, was on the actual news stations. We got the actual email as well from them. We are definitely putting it through. It's something that we're not going to wait for it to come down another day or two. We've waited too long as it is. So the kids should not be masked outside, definitely not during field activities or sports or any of this other stuff. These are things that we have to be religiously working on to make sure are being done.
Yeah,
Jackie, I believe that was made very clear, Jackie.
yeah, we got legal advice that all of the announcements that the governor has made are in effect projecting that the executive order will come. And our attorney was very comfortable with us making this move tonight.
Perfect. Thank you.
Does any other board member have anything else to add before we adjourn this meeting?
Well, Mylan, I'm back. I'm back. Lee or Mark? Remember, we still have the meeting at high school tomorrow night. I encourage all members of the public to attend and speak their minds. Okay, if there's no other,
So Linda, that letter, I'm sorry, Eileen. So that letter that you're going to email to all parents that they can download and mail it, right? And it's going to be on the district website, and it's going to be on our Facebook page and Twitter pages and everything, right?
We will get it out there, Mylan, to everybody. Yes.
Awesome, thank you.
thank you. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion.
Second, everybody's motioned. Somebody say second.
Second.
I'll say second.
Aye.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Have a
Aye.
good night.